The psychotic and very weak American president Donald Trump continues to spiral. He's making posts like this, photos of Napoleon, and Donald Trump used that there in response to this news article about how a federal judge ruled that the Trump administration was defying a court order. Donald Trump keeps on quoting, "He who saves his country violates no law." Donald Trump keeps on posting that statement over and over again, which is attributed to Napoleon.
Guess who's been playing race car driver while floods ravage entire states? Yep, our grumpy Trumpy. While Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia are underwater, Trump's busy getting his photo ops at NASCAR. Talk about misplaced priorities. But wait, there's more. Our stable genius is now quoting Napoleon like he's auditioning for a high school play. "He who saves his country violates no law," he says. Funny, I thought saving your country meant actually addressing disasters, not pretending to be Dale Earnhardt Jr. This has always blown my mind a little bit. 91% that watch this show regularly haven't subscribed. Could I ask you for a small favor before we start? If you like this show, what we do here, and want to support us, the free, simple way you can do just that is by hitting the subscribe button. Alright folks, buckle up because we're about to take a wild ride with our favorite orange-tinted speedster, Donald Trump. Remember when presidents used to do boring stuff like, oh, I don't know, running the country? Well, not our Donnie. He's got bigger fish to fry. Or should I say, bigger cars to drive.
And so what was Donald Trump doing over the weekend as well? Well, as Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia suffered devastating storms. Over 10 people were killed in Kentucky from this flash flooding. Donald Trump went to a NASCAR, the Daytona 500 event, and then he delayed it at first and then made it sooner and then delayed it again. A storm came and hit the Daytona 500, delaying it, costing American taxpayers, what, tens of millions of dollars, or at least millions of dollars for these stupid photo ops.
Picture this. Trump swaggering around Daytona International Speedway like he's the king of the racetrack. Move over, NASCAR legends. There's a new sheriff in town, and he's got a comb over that can withstand 200-mile-per-hour winds. Our ex-pres decided to kick off the Daytona 500 in true Trump fashion by making it all about himself. But hey, why settle for just waving a flag when you can bring the whole dang Air Force One along for the ride? That's right, folks. Trump's big old plane did a flyover so low you could practically see his spray tan from the stands. Because nothing says I'm a man of the people quite like showing off your taxpayer-funded private jet, right? And if you thought that was extra, hold on to your MAGA hats. Trump's motorcade took a spin around the track, turning the Daytona 500 into the Donald 500. Vroom, vroom, indeed. I bet he was living out his childhood dreams of being a race car driver. Who needs to worry about pesky things like the economy or foreign policy when you can pretend you're Lightning McQueen for a day? But wait, there's more. Our grumpy Trumpy wasn't content with just one lap.
Okay, let's be very clear. Egg prices were not at an all-time high before. They're at an all-time high now. But it's not only egg prices, all prices are going up now. The price of eggs are now at record highs. The price of other groceries higher than ever, or getting very high rather. Housing less affordable. Donald Trump is an idiot. He's a dangerous idiot, and he's clearly in cognitive decline as well. I mean, you can see it for yourself. If you have a family member who suffers from dementia, that's at least what Trump looks like.
Oh no, he had to delay the race not once, but twice. Talk about a traffic jam. I guess when you're used to clogging up Twitter feeds, clogging up racetracks is the next logical step. Now, while Trump was busy playing Fast and Furious, presidential drift, something kind of important was happening back in the real world. You know, that place where actions have consequences and people need actual help. Yeah, that place. Turns out Kentucky was dealing with some pretty nasty floods. But who cares about a little water when you can watch the Donald do his best Dale Earnhardt impression, right? And here's the kicker, folks. This little joyride wasn't just a waste of time. It was a waste of money, millions of dollars to be exact. That's right, while people were literally underwater in Kentucky, Trump was burning through cash faster than a pit crew changes tires. But hey, at least he got to feel like a big shot for a day, right? You know, it's almost like Trump forgot he was supposed to be, oh, I don't know, the president of the United States. Last time I checked, that job description didn't include pretend to be a NASCAR driver while ignoring actual crises. But what do I know? I'm just a comedian who can read a room better than Trump can read a teleprompter. Well, folks, it looks like our favorite orange-tinted troublemaker has found a new historical hero. Move over, George Washington. Trump's got a new man crush, and it's none other than the vertically challenged conqueror himself, Napoleon Bonaparte. Who saw that coming? Certainly not me, and I'm pretty sure not Napoleon either. Seems like Donnie's been hitting the history books lately. Or more likely, he stumbled across a Napoleon quote on the back of a cereal box and thought, hey, this short angry guy sounds just like me. Now he's been parroting this line like it's the hottest new catchphrase. He who saves his country violates no law. Catchy, right? Almost as catchy as lock her up or build the wall. But here's the million-dollar question. Does Trump even know who Napoleon was? Or does he just like the idea of a short, angry guy taking over a country? Maybe he's planning to invade Russia next winter. Who knows with this guy? He's about as predictable as a cat on catnip. Now, let's be real for a second. Trump's been posting this quote over and over again. It's like he's got it on a post-it note stuck to his mirror right next to "You're the best president ever," and your hands are totally normal-sized. But why is he so obsessed with this particular line? Well, turns out our grumpy Trumpy's been using it to justify some of his more, let's say, creative interpretations of the law. You know, those pesky little things called legal challenges against his administration's actions. It's like he thinks repeating a Napoleon quote is some kind of get-out-of-jail-free card. Newsflash, Donnie, just because you say it doesn't make it true. Otherwise, I'd be a billionaire playboy with a six-pack by now. But wait, it gets better. Some smarty-pants experts have pointed out that Trump's love affair with Napoleon isn't just a random history crush. Nope, it's part of a bigger pattern. See, our wannabe dictator has a thing for aligning himself with strong, authoritative leaders. It's like he's building his own little authoritarian boy band, and Napoleon's the latest member. Move over, Putin and Kim Jong-un, there's a new tyrant in town. Now, here's where it gets really juicy. The historical context of Napoleon's quote is all about the complex relationship between legality and authority. Sound familiar? It's like Trump's current situation, where he's facing more opposition than a vegetable at a kid's party, but instead of dealing with it like a grown-up, he's over here playing dress-up as Napoleon. And get this, there's a theory that Trump's Napoleon fixation might come from a 1970s movie about the French Emperor. That's right, folks, our president might be basing his political strategy on a film older than most of his wives. It's like he watched Napoleon Dynamite and thought it was a documentary. Meanwhile, actual leaders are out there dealing with, you know, real problems like climate change, healthcare, and trying to figure out how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. But not our Donnie. He's too busy practicing his Napoleon pose in the mirror and wondering if he can pull off the bicorn hat. Look, well, folks, it looks like our favorite orange-tinted troublemaker has decided that laws are more like suggestions. You know, like when your mom tells you to eat your vegetables. Sure, Mom, I'll totally eat those Brussels sprouts right after I finish this entire chocolate cake. But here's the thing, Trump isn't a pouty 8-year-old refusing to eat his greens. He's a former president who thinks he's above the law. And let me tell you, that's about as reassuring as finding out your pilot learned to fly by watching Top Gun. Turns out, a federal judge has had enough of Trump's shenanigans. They've accused Trump's team of defying court orders. Shocking, I know. Who could have possibly seen that coming? Oh, right, everyone with a functioning brainstem. But don't worry, folks. Trump says he always abides by the courts. Sure, and I'm the Queen of England. It's like when your friend says they'll totally pay you back next week for the 5th time. At some point, you've got to wonder if they think you're as dumb as a box of rocks. Remember when Trump said he'd accept the election results if he won? Yeah, that aged about as well as milk left out in the sun. Now, his VP is tweeting that judges can't control executive power because nothing says healthy democracy like ignoring the entire judicial branch, right? It's like watching a toddler refuse to go to bed, except this toddler has access to nuclear codes. Sleep tight, America. Don't let the bed bugs or the threat of constitutional crisis bite. And how does our dear leader respond to all this? with more Napoleon quotes of course, because nothing solves a legal crisis quite like channeling a long-dead French emperor. What's next, Donnie? Gonna start wearing a bicorn hat and stick your hand in your jacket? Actually, that might be an improvement over the MAGA cap and ill-fitting suits. But here's the kicker, folks. While Trump's busy playing dress up and ignoring judges, actual lawmakers are starting to freak out. Representative Hank Johnson, bless his heart, said, "I'm not going to stand by and support an effort to dismantle our democracy through the budgeting process." Translation, holy moly, this orange lunatic might actually try to burn down the whole system. And it's not just the Democrats who are worried. Even some Republicans are starting to sweat. It's like they've suddenly realized that giving a toddler matches might not have been the best idea. Who knew? Meanwhile, Democratic leaders are worried that Trump's actions could lead to a constitutional crisis. You think? It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, except the car is democracy and the driver is a narcissistic Cheeto with delusions of grandeur. The real kicker? The Dems don't seem to have any good ideas on how to stop this runaway train. It's like they brought a spoon to a gunfight. Come on, folks. You're supposed to be the adults in the room. Do something other than clutching your pearls and looking concerned. Alright folks, if you thought Trump's legal shenanigans were wild, wait till you hear about his economic master plan. It's like he's playing Monopoly with real money. And guess who's footing the bill? Spoiler alert, it ain't the billionaires. Our favorite orange-tinted troublemaker has cooked up an economic recipe that'll make your wallet cry. Trump's latest bright idea? A whopping $4.5 trillion tax cut. But don't get too excited. Average Joe, this tasty treat is mostly for the billionaires. Because, you know, those poor billionaires really need a break from all that pesky money weighing down their pockets. But wait, there's more. Donnie Diapers isn't just planning to make the rich richer. He's also got a brilliant plan to make America broke again. How, you ask? By adding a cool $25 trillion to the national debt. That's right, folks. Trump's playing with more zeros than he has brain cells. It's like he's trying to set a high score in the how fast can we bankrupt a country game. Now, you might be wondering, what about the rest of us? What about the rising cost of living? Well, our grumpy Trumpy has a solution for that too. Take the skyrocketing egg prices, for example. Trump's response? Blame Biden, because apparently the laws of economics and inflation don't apply when you're living in Trump's fantasy land. Never mind that his own policies during his previous term might have had something to do with it. Nope, it's all Biden's fault. Those chickens must be Democrats. But here's where it gets really good. The European Union is threatening to ban food imports from the US. Now, a normal person might be concerned about the potential economic fallout, but not our Donald. His response? Let them do it, they're just hurting themselves. That's right, folks. Trump's playing economic chicken with Europe, and he's betting our farmers' livelihoods on it. Who needs international trade relations anyway, right? Let's break down this economic masterpiece a bit more. Trump's plan includes some truly impressive budget cuts. We're talking $880 billion from Medicaid, because who needs healthcare when you can have more billionaires? And don't forget the significant reductions in funding for education and agriculture. After all, who needs food and knowledge when you can have, more billionaires? It's like Trump's trying to create his own version of the Hunger Games. But instead of fighting for survival, we're all just fighting for scraps while the rich watch from their golden towers. Maybe that's his grand plan. Turn the whole country into one big reality TV show. Survivor USA Edition anyone. The real kicker in all this? While Trump's busy playing economic Jenga with the country's finances, actual economists are having collective heart attacks. It's like watching a toddler try to perform brain surgery. Hilarious if it wasn't so terrifying. But hey, let's look on the bright side. If Trump's plan goes through, we might all become billionaires, because that's how much a loaf of bread will cost. Silver linings, people. Well, folks, it looks like our grumpy Trumpy's approval ratings are taking a nosedive faster than his hairpiece in a windstorm. Experts are saying he hasn't scored a single win in the lawmaking game, and his poll numbers are lower than a limbo stick at a midget convention. It's like watching a clown try to juggle chainsaws. Hilarious, but kinda terrifying. Trump's gone from stable genius to unstable mess quicker than you can say covfefe. His presidency would be a laugh riot if it wasn't such a potential dumpster fire for democracy. Seriously, America, we've got a choice here. Chuckle now or sob later. It's like we're all passengers on the Titanic, and Captain Orange is steering us straight for the iceberg while insisting it's just a really big ice cube for his Diet Coke.